Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm making a play mat to put on the floor for when my granddaughter visits. Now this is a puff stitch. I'm going to show you how to keep it in the round. A lot of the time when you do things in the round, when you do the increasing, you end up with it looking like a hexagon. It's got all these sort of flat sides to it. Sometimes the edge just ends up straight from the way you increase. You end up with all these straight lines, but not with this. I'm going to show you how to increase it. It's really easy and it stays in the round. All the colours are all perfectly in the round. Once I do more rows, then this one will go perfectly in circle, the same as the rest of it. This is a fabulous idea for making cushion covers as well. If you want to do some round cushions, you can use this as a coaster. You can make them bigger for placemats and make them bigger even still for a large plate, a dinner service. You can put these in any colour you want. You can have it just in one colour. You can have each line in a completely different colour. It's up to you. This is also excellent for making rugs as well. If you're going to use it on a hard surface, I would buy some non-slip matting. You can get that on Amazon and in a lot of shops as well. You just put it down, cut it just slightly short the size of your rug, or you can even just make sure you've got plenty of it just in the middle section and stitch it on so it doesn't slip if you're using it on a hard surface. Now this won't slip on a carpet. If you have carpeting in your house, this yarn will kind of slip. This is suede and it's not moving around on that. But if you're going to use it on a hard surface, then please put some non-slip matting on the back. So I'm going to start mine with the lemon. I'm going to do a magic circle. If you can't do a magic circle, do a chain of 5 and then slip stitch it into a ring. Now a magic circle is quite easy. You put the tail end on your hand and hold it. Wrap the rest of the yarn around and cross it over. Just cross it over. Put your hook under and catch the yarn and bring it through. Now you can pull your tail to make that hoop a little bit smaller and then pull your stitch down gently. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do one stitch, then pull up a loop, pull it up. Now we're going to go 4 times into this ring to make the puff stitch. So yarn over and through the loop, pull through, that's once, you've got 3 loops. Yarn over, through the space and pull through, that's twice. Yarn over, through 3 times, yarn over, through and pull through. So you should have about 9 loops. Put your yarn over and pull through all of those loops. If you can't go through all of them, just come through a few at a time and chain 2, 1, 2. So we're going to put 6 puffs into this magic ring or your magic loop. So yarn over into the space and pull up 1, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 3, yarn over and pull through 4, yarn over, come through all of the loops and chain 2, 1, 2. And do that again so you've got 6 puff stitches in this space. So I've got my 6th one. I'm going to chain 2, 1, 2. I'm going to pull my magic circle or my magic knot, just pull it tight. We'll stitch that in and in to the top of that puff stitch where your first stitch is, we're going to slip stitch through the top of that puff stitch and slip. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change my yarn. Now the one thing about chain is you can carry your colour around, but I found it easier just to cut it. Pull that one through, pull that through your knot like that, and it's easy. It's easy just to put your needle in, go to the back where your tail is, and into one of the puff stitch, just a couple of stitches just to hold that end in, and pull your tail and stitch that in. You can do this after each round if you're changing the colour. You don't have to do that if you're making it all the same colour. And I'm going to stitch this in to this one. Just a few stitches just to hold it in, and cut my tails off. So now I'm going to go into a chain 2 space, and add my next colour. Pull your yarn through. I'm just going to twist the end in to tighten it in. Do one chain, then pull your loop up. Pull up your loop. And we're going to do these puff stitches. We're going to do 2 into each of these chain spaces. So yarn over, pull through, that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yarn over, pull through all the loops and chain 2, 1, 2. Now put another one in, yarn over, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Pull through all those loops and chain 2. And then move to the next space. You might not think you'll get them in, but you will. 1, 2, 3, 4. And pull through all of those loops and chain 2. Remember the chain 2. Another one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pull through, chain 2. And move to the next one. You're going to put 2 puff stitches into each chain space. So I'm on my last puff stitch. I've got 2 into each chain space. I'm going to chain 2, 1, 2, and slip stitch to the top of this puff stitch here. Then I'm going to change my yarn again. So we went from 6 to 12 stitches. We've got 2 in each chain space. And that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be working in the chain spaces. Now, if you're just doing this one colour, what you'll do is when you get to there, you'll just slip stitch into the chain space. If you're doing this all in one colour, pull your loop up and then start your puff stitches. What you'll do is now you'll do 1 into this space and 2 into that space. In between the puff stitch, you'll do 1 into that space and 2 into that space. Each round we're going to increase the number of single puff stitches we do. So I'm just going to pull that through. Doesn't matter that if it's there. I can sew that in later. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in between my puffs and get my next colour. So my next colour combination is white. So I'll pull that through, wrap the tail around just to help lock it in, and do one chain. Do one chain, pull that tail down, we'll stitch that in soon. I'm going to hold it over there and work around that tail end. So I've done one chain, pull your stitch up and do 1, 2, 3 and 4. We're going to make one puff stitch in here, chain 2, 1 and 2. Into the next one, we're going to put 2. Into the next chain space, we're going to put 2 in there. I'll drop my tail down. Put 2 in here. 1, 2, 3. Do my puff stitch. Chain 2. Always chain 2 after a puff stitch. Another one into there. 1, 2, 3. Pull through 4. And chain 2. So the next one, in between the puff stitches, we're going to put one puff stitch. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and pull through and chain 2, 1, 2. Then we'll put 2 into the next one. So we're doing one puff stitch, 2 into the next chain, 1 into the next chain space, 2 into the next one. So we're going to increase every second stitch all the way around. So we've done that one, we're going to put 2 into this one. So I'm going to close this round off, slip stitch in. Take this colour off. You can sew all your ends in as you go, or you can just wait until you've done quite a bit and then sew your ends in. Now what we're going to do with the next round is we're going to do one puff stitch, then increase. I don't want to increase inside and increase. I want to avoid having that wedge. I don't want to increase into the increase stitch. I'm going to start over inside this increase. I'm going to put 1, 1, then increase here. 1, 1, then 2 in there. 1, 1 and 2 puff stitch. 1 puff stitch, 1 puff stitch, 2. 1, 1, 2. So we're doing 2 single stitches before we increase. And to stop it from going into that hexagonal shape and keep it round, don't increase into one that's increased already. So I'm going to go offset here. I'm going to do in here, I'm going to put my next colour on. For me, it's blue. So I'm going to go in to the stitch before my increase. Just pull my yarn through, wrap my tail around once or twice and do one chain. Pull my stitch up and then do my puff stitch. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and pull through. Chain 2, 1, 2. Now I'm going to move. This is where the increase was. I'm going to put one stitch. So we're going to have one single puff stitch, and then we'll increase. So every row you will increase the number of single stitches before you increase. So that's the first one. So 1 into this here where we've already done an increase. We're only putting 1. That's going to help keep our little blanket or project round. Chain 2, 1, 2. So I've got 1 and 2. Now I'm going to increase. Put 2 in. Chain 2. Don't do your chains too tight. And 1 more in that space. Increase in here. Chain 2. Then move to the next space. We'll put 1 in here, 1 in here, and then 2 in there. All the way around. So I'm on my last space and I'm on an increase. I've done 1, 2, and then I'm going to increase in here. Go through all my loops and chain 2. Don't do your chain too tight. And we're going to slip stitch in to the top of that puff. Have I done my chain of 2? Do my chain 2 and then slip stitch. And we'll change the yarn again. You can cut your ends in anytime you want. You can sew your ends in anytime you want. And as you can see, it's staying around. So when you do your next round, you're going to do 1 stitch, 2 stitch, 3 stitch, then increase 1, 2, 3, 1 in there, and then increase 1, 2, 3, and then increase as you go around. But each round you'll increase the number of single stitches. So the next time we're going to do 3 and then increase. The next round it'll be 4, then increase, then 5 and increase. Every round you make, it'll go up 1 set. As long as you don't keep increasing in the same position, you won't get that sort of hexagonal shape. If you increase in the same position, it'll start to go like that. You don't want that. So do your increases at a different spot. Or you can start here and do 1, 2, 3, then increase there. 1, 2, 3, and increase in there. And that way you won't be increasing into the same space each time, and it should stay round. Now I'm going to get my other one that I'm working on, and this is what you'll get. And as you can see, I've got an increase there and I've got one that's there that's not on top of it. The other one's offset. Make sure that when you do your increases, you're offsetting it a little bit. So what I've got here is I should have 15 stitches around here. So what I'll do is I'll start somewhere in the middle and I'll count around my 15 and then I'll increase 15 and increase. And that's the way you'll do this. So we started with 6, we ended up with 12. Then it was 1 and increase, 1 increase, 1 and increase. Then we did 1, 2 and increase, 1, 2 and increase. Then it's 1, 2, 3 increase, 1, 2, 3 increase. 1, 2, 3, 4 and increase. 1, 2, 3, 4 increase. And you'll keep going from 4 to 5 to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and on and on and on until it's as big as you want it to be. This is really, really pretty. And that way, if you don't increase in the same place, it'll stay round. It'll stay nice and round and it won't go like this. It won't go into one of those hexagonal shapes. It should stay round. So thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel and please click on the bell icon and YouTube will tell you when I put up another tutorial. So until the next time, happy crafting and I'll see you all again soon. Goodbye.